Armin had been driving his taxi through the quiet streets of Norport for years. The city looked peaceful at night. The glowing lights from the tall buildings reflected in the wet roads. It was past midnight now, and the streets were almost empty. His shift was nearly over. He was tired, but he needed one more fare. His younger brother, Rafik, was studying at university, and every extra ride helped with the expenses. Just as he was about to turn off the meter, his device beeped. New ride request. The location made him pause. It came from the old Norport district, place most people avoided after dark. Many buildings there were abandoned. Some said the place was cursed or haunted. But Armin didn't believe in such things. He accepted the ride. He followed the GPS, driving deeper into the quiet district. Streetlights flickered. Trees with dry leaves lined the narrow road. The air felt colder here. Finally, he reached the location. An old house stood at the end of the lane. Its windows were dark and the walls were covered with climbing plants. The house looked lonely. Armin stopped the car and waited. A few seconds later, the front door opened slowly. A woman stepped out. She wore a long black coat. Her face was pale and her eyes were red, like she had been crying for hours. She walked to the car, opened the back door, but didn't sit. Instead, she leaned forward and spoke softly, almost like a whisper. "Stay with me tonight." "Please." Armin was confused. "Madam, I thought you needed a ride somewhere." She looked at him, her eyes full of fear and sadness. "I just needed someone kind. I couldn't call anyone else." Armin looked around. The street was empty. The wind blew softly through the trees. Something about her voice made him stay. He turned off the engine. "All right. I can stay. For a little while." The woman nodded slowly, then led him inside the house. Inside, the house felt cold, not just in temperature, but in feeling. Dust covered the furniture. The air smelled like old paper and something faintly metallic. But it was clean, too clean. For an abandoned house, the woman led him to a small sitting room. She motioned for him to sit on the old sofa. "My name is Mina," she said quietly. "I'm Armin," he replied, trying to smile politely. She sat down on the chair across from him, holding a cup of cold tea. Her hands were shaking. "My husband, Harun, he went missing 6 months ago," she said. "The police couldn't find anything. They said maybe he ran away or had an accident. But I know he's still here, somewhere in this house." Armin felt a chill run down his back. "Here? You mean he's hiding?" "No," Mina whispered. "Not hiding, trapped." Armin leaned forward. He didn't believe in ghosts, but Mina's voice was so calm, so sure, that it made him listen closely. "He was a scientist," she explained. "He worked with a small group. They believed emotions had energy, real energy. They thought if you could gather it, you could power machines." "That sounds strange," Armin said carefully. "I know," Mina nodded. "But Harun was always smart. He built a device. A strange machine. He called it Heartline." Armin frowned. "What happened to him?" "He tested it one night," she replied, her voice trembling. "And then he was gone. No body, no sound. Just gone. After that, the house changed. I hear whispers at night. I see lights from the basement. I feel like someone is watching me." Armin stayed quiet. It sounded impossible, but Mina wasn't lying. He could see the pain in her eyes. "Why did you call a taxi driver?" he asked finally. "Because," Mina said, looking down, "the machine only responds to people with strong hearts. Not love, but kindness, empathy. You came, didn't you? Even when the address was strange. You stayed when I asked. That means something." Armin didn't know what to say. He had only come for a normal ride, and now he was hearing about machines that used emotions. Still, he didn't stand up. Something deep inside told him to stay. "Do you want to see the machine?" she asked. He nodded slowly. Mina took him to the basement. The stairs creaked under their feet. The air felt heavier as they went down. The basement was not what Armin expected. It was a small laboratory, filled with wires, old screens, and metal tools. In the center stood a strange device, shaped like a half circle with a glowing crystal. Inside, small lights blinked along its surface. On the wall behind it, someone had written, "Project Heartline, powered by feeling." Armin stepped closer. The machine began to hum. Mina gasped. "It never did that for me." He looked back at her. "Are you sure it's safe?" "I'm not sure about anything," she whispered. Suddenly, the machine glowed brighter. A small panel lit up, showing an old video. Harun appeared on the screen, tired but smiling. "If you're seeing this, it means I failed to return. The machine works, but it needs more than logic. It needs a human heart. If you're here to help, thank you. Only someone with true empathy can fix what I broke." The screen turned black. Armin stared at the machine. He didn't know what it all meant yet, but he had a strange feeling this night was going to change everything. Armin stood quietly in front of the strange machine. The soft humming sound filled the basement. Its blinking lights seemed to move in rhythm with his heartbeat. He had never seen anything like it before. It looked old and futuristic at the same time. Behind him, Mina stood still, watching him closely. "This is the machine," she said. "Heartline." Armin slowly turned toward her. "It reacted to me." She nodded. "That's why I asked you to stay. The machine responds only to people who feel deeply. People with empathy." Harun believed it could only be activated by someone truly kind. Armin didn't know what to say. He wasn't a scientist, he was just a taxi driver. But the machine had reacted to him, and not to her. He looked back at it, feeling something strange inside. Not fear, but curiosity. The glow from the crystal in the center was soft, almost like it was breathing. Mina sat down on an old chair nearby. She looked tired, like she hadn't slept in days. "I didn't know who else to call," she said, her voice quiet. "People think I'm crazy, that I made it all up. Even my neighbors stopped visiting. But I know what I saw." Armin walked over to her. "Tell me everything, from the beginning." She nodded slowly, then began her story. Harun had always been a thinker. Even as a child, he asked questions no one else did. He believed that emotions had energy. Not just inside the mind, but real energy that could be measured. He joined a small research team. They worked in secret, far from government eyes. Their goal was to build a machine that could collect and use emotional energy. Not anger or fear, but positive feelings like empathy, care, and sacrifice. Mina remembered the day Harun brought home the first part of the Heartline machine. He looked excited, like a child who had found a treasure. He said, "This will change the world, Mina. It will show them what makes humans special." But after many tests, the others in his group gave up. They said it was impossible. Harun was the only one who kept going. Then one night, he told Mina he was ready to try the final test. He had modified the machine so it could link directly with his mind. He believed that if his feelings were strong enough, the machine would open a new kind of path, a way to reach deeper parts of human consciousness. Mina had begged him to wait, to test it more. But he said he had no choice. If the machine worked, it would prove everything. That night, Harun activated Heartline. There was a flash of light, a strange sound like wind and whispers. When Mina ran down to the basement, Harun was gone. The machine was still humming, but he was nowhere to be found. Since that night, the house changed. Lights flickered without reason. Whispers came from empty rooms. Once, Mina saw a reflection of Harun in the mirror, but only for a second. "I believe he's still here," she said, wiping her eyes. "Not dead, trapped, somewhere between." Armin listened carefully. It sounded unbelievable, but Mina wasn't lying. Her pain was real. And so was the strange feeling in the room. He looked back at the Heartline machine. If this machine connects to emotions, maybe he really is stuck in it somehow, he said. Mina stood up, her eyes full of hope. You believe me? I'm not sure what I believe, Armin replied, but I want to help. She walked over to a small drawer and pulled out a notebook. It was full of drawings and notes written by Haroon, his thoughts, tests, and ideas. Armin flipped through the pages. Some of the words were too technical, but one sentence stood out. Only a heart untouched by greed or fear can open the door. What door? Armin asked. Mina pointed to the machine. I think he meant a door between this world and wherever he is now. Armin placed his hand on the side of the machine. The crystal in the center pulsed brighter. Then, something new happened. A soft voice played from the speaker. It was Haroon's voice again. If you're hearing this, someone made it. I hope it's you, Mina, but if it's someone else, thank you. The machine works, but I couldn't control it. I'm stuck in a loop, in a place made of memories and feelings. If you try to help, be careful. You must stay strong, or it will trap you too. The message ended with a crackling sound. Mina covered her mouth with her hand. Tears rolled down her cheeks. He's alive, she whispered. Armin looked at the Pruker machine again. His heart beat faster. This was no longer about curiosity. A real man was trapped. A kind man who had tried to prove something special about humanity. Armin didn't understand the science, but he knew about emotions. He had felt the pain of losing his parents. He had worked hard, night after night, for his younger brothers' future. He had always tried to do the right thing, even when life was unfair. Maybe that was enough. I want to help, he said firmly. Tell me what to do. Mina handed him the notebook. Haroon wrote that someone could connect to the machine by touching the crystal and focusing on a memory filled with emotion. Not just sadness, but something pure. Armin nodded slowly. He sat down in front of the machine, closed his eyes, and placed both hands on the glowing crystal. He thought of Rafiq's graduation day, the smile on his brother's face, the pride he felt, the tears he had held back when Rafiq hugged him and said, "You're the reason I made it." The machine began to hum louder. Mina stepped back. The lights in the room flickered. The crystal glowed with a soft blue light, and a low sound like distant waves filled the basement. Then, a screen on the machine turned on, showing something unexpected. Armin's own face, but behind him was a silver sky, floating shapes, whispers. A portal had opened. And something or someone was calling from the other side. The light from the Heartline machine filled the basement. It was no longer just a soft glow. It had become bright and strong, like the sun rising behind a cloud. The screen on the side showed something strange, a silver-colored world with floating shapes and shadows that looked like people, but not quite. Armin sat very still, both hands on the crystal. His eyes were closed, but he was breathing deeply. His mind felt like it was floating. He could hear voices not in his ears, but in his thoughts. Some were soft, some were scared. All of them were calling for help. Mina stood behind him, her hands over her mouth. She had never seen the machine react like this. It was alive now, responding to Armin in a way it never did with her, or even Haroon. She could feel the change in the air. The house itself had gone quiet, as if everything was waiting. Then the machine gave a soft beep. The screen changed again. Now it showed a round room with strange blue walls and soft lights. Inside, a man stood with his back turned. He looked lost. He looked familiar. Haroon! Mina cried. The man turned. It was him. But his face looked older, tired, like he had lived 100 years in a short time. His mouth moved, but there was no sound. Then he looked directly at the screen, as if he could see them. Suddenly, Armin's hands grew warm. The crystal pulsed again. opened his eyes. "I saw him," he said, voice low. "He's in a place made of thoughts. It's not a dream. It's real, but not like our world." Mina came closer. "Can we bring him back?" Armin looked at the screen. "Maybe, but the machine is only part of it. I think I need to go in." "What? Do you mean go in?" Mina asked, confused. "I don't know how," Armin admitted. "But I felt something pulling me, like an open door. The machine showed me people trapped in a strange place. Haroon is one of them." Mina suddenly remembered something. She rushed to the bookshelf and pulled out another notebook, this one much older and thinner. Haroon kept this one separate. He said it was his personal guide for Heartline. She flipped through the pages quickly, then stopped. "Here, look." Armin leaned over. The page showed a drawing of the machine, and a small note written in red ink. "Once bonded with the right heart, the machine opens a gate to the echo realm, a place where thoughts, emotions, and memory are alive. Time doesn't move the same. The bond must be strong, or the traveler will be lost." Armin read it twice. "That's where he is," he said. "The echo realm." Mina looked scared. "Is it safe?" "I don't know," Armin replied. "But I think I'm the only one who can reach him." He looked back at the machine. It was glowing softly now, waiting. Armin sat down again and closed his eyes. He thought of Haroon, not just as Mina's husband, but as a man who believed in something greater. A man who tried to prove that the heart had power, that humans were more than just minds and muscles. He focused on that thought. The crystal grew brighter again. The sound in the room changed. It wasn't humming anymore, it was singing, like a soft echo of voices coming from far away. Then, the machine released a soft burst of blue light, and Armin was gone. Inside the echo realm at first, there was nothing. Just silence, then light. Armin opened his eyes and saw the strangest world he had ever known. He stood in a floating field made of silver mist. Above him, the sky shifted colors slowly: blue, gold, violet. All around him were shapes some like buildings, others like floating islands. But everything felt soft, like a dream. He could hear voices, but they were not loud. They came from everywhere: memories, emotions, songs, and whispers. He took a step forward. The ground formed under his feet like a soft cushion. As he walked, the mist around him showed visions, people laughing, crying, remembering. He saw moments of joy, pain, hope, and loss. "This place is built from feelings," he whispered. Then, from the distance, he heard a familiar sound, a quiet cough. He turned. Haroon stood there, dressed in the same clothes from the video message. His eyes were wide with shock. "You're real?" Haroon asked. Armin smiled. "Yes, I came to find you." Haroon stepped back. "No, you shouldn't be here. This place, it doesn't let people go." "I touched the machine, Heartline. It opened the way," Armin explained. "Your wife Mina is waiting. She never gave up on you." Haroon's face softened. His eyes filled with tears. "I tried to return," he said. "But every time I tried to leave, the realm pulled me back. I don't know how long I've been here." Time moved strangely. Armin stepped closer. "Then let's go together." Suddenly, a loud sound echoed through the realm. Dark mist began to form in the air. Shadows with no faces rose from the ground. They whispered, "Stay, stay." Haroon looked afraid. "They are the others. People who entered and got lost. Some tried to control the machine. Some were selfish. Their emotions turned into chains. They can't leave now." Armin looked at the shadows. They moved like smoke, circling them. But he didn't feel fear. He closed his eyes and focused on his strongest memory again, his brother's smile, the love in his heart. The shadows stopped. Some even stepped back, confused. Haroon looked amazed. "Your emotions?" "They pushed them away." "I didn't come here with fear," Armin said. "I came to help." The sky above them cracked open. revealing a soft blue light, just like the crystal on the Heartline machine. Haroon's body began to glow. "You opened the gate," Haroon said, his voice full of wonder. Armin reached out his hand. "Let's go home." Haroon took it. In a flash of light, the mist disappeared. The machine had gone silent. Mina helped Haroon to the sofa. He looked tired, his hands trembling, his eyes full of emotion. But he was alive. For the first time in 6 months, he was home. Armin sat nearby, wiping sweat from his forehead. The journey had taken something from him. Not just energy, but something deeper. His heart felt heavier, but also stronger. "You were gone for 6 months," Mina whispered, holding Haroon's hand tightly. "To me, it felt like years," Haroon said softly. "I thought I'd never come back." He looked at Armin, his eyes filled with gratitude. "You saved me, but how? You aren't a scientist. You shouldn't even be able to enter the Echo realm." "I don't know," Armin replied, shaking his head. "I only followed what felt right. Maybe that's what the machine needed." Haroon nodded slowly. "That's what I feared and hoped at the same time. Heartline doesn't follow logic. It doesn't care about knowledge. It follows something older. Human emotion." Mina placed a blanket over Haroon and brought him water. She looked at both men. "Can you explain what happened in there?" she asked. Haroon took a deep breath. "The Echo realm is not a real place, not like this world. It's a space between realities, built from memory, emotion, and thought. The machine connects to it, but only when someone with true empathy activates it." Armin leaned forward. "I saw other people there, shadows." Haroon's face became serious. "Yes, they were real ones. People who used the machine without understanding it. Some tried to use it for power. Some thought they could escape pain. But the realm doesn't forget. It holds on to feelings. It becomes a mirror of the soul." Armin remembered the faceless shadows, whispering words like chains. "They were trapped," he said. "They didn't want me to leave," Haroon nodded, "because they lost themselves. Their guilt, their fear, it grew and took form. The Echo realm is not evil, but it reflects whatever is inside you. That's why only someone like you could enter and return." Mina sat down beside them, her face pale. "So what happens now? Is it over?" Haroon looked at the Heartline machine. Its crystal was still dim. "The machine has gone quiet for now. But I don't think this is over. When I was trapped inside, I felt something. Watching." Armin looked up sharply. "Something?" Haroon nodded. "Not human, not shadow, something greater. It wasn't part of the realm. It was outside it, observing." Mina's eyes widened. "You mean like aliens?" Haroon didn't answer right away. Then he said, "Maybe, or something older. I only know that when Armin entered the realm, they reacted. They didn't expect him." "Why me?" Armin asked. "Because," Haroon said slowly, "you weren't part of the project. You had no desire for gain. You helped out of pure kindness. That confused them." Armin stood up and walked over to the machine. He placed his hand on it. The crystal didn't glow anymore, but the surface was warm. "I saw the others," he sighed. "Still trapped. Can we save them?" Haroon looked down. "I tried. I failed. But you might be the key. And if those things are watching us now, they might not let you try again so easily." That night, Armin couldn't sleep. He returned to his taxi and sat inside, engine off. The streets were empty. The stars above were quiet and cold. But his thoughts were loud. He had driven a taxi for years, picking up strangers and dropping them off. He never imagined that one night, a simple ride would take him into a world beyond understanding. Now, he had seen something few humans ever had, a realm made from feeling, shaped by memory, and possibly watched by beings from beyond the stars. He pulled out the notebook Mina had given him. Inside were more of Haroon's notes, some filled with math. others with strange symbols, and a few pages written like a diary. One entry caught his eye. The machine is not human, but it is human-made. It acts like a bridge. But if there's a bridge, that means there's another side. And if someone watches bridges, they watch what crosses. That line stayed with him. The next day, Armin returned to the house. Haroon was resting, but Mina welcomed him with a smile and warm tea. "We're grateful," she said. "You gave me back my husband." Armin nodded. "I'm happy he's home." "But something's not finished yet." Mina looked curious. "What do you mean?" Armin opened the notebook and pointed to the line. "If someone or something is watching the Heartline machine, they might return. Or they might already be here." Mina sat down slowly. "You think they'll come for you?" "I don't know," Armin said. "But I don't want to wait." At that moment, Haroon entered the room, leaning on the doorframe. "I agree with Armin," he said. "We need to prepare. If these watchers saw Armin enter and leave the Echo Realm safely, they might see him as a threat or an opportunity." Mina looked from one to the other. "What do we do?" Haroon smiled weakly. "We build, we study, and we protect the machine. No one else must use it until we understand more." Armin added, "And if those beings return, I want to be ready." Later that week, a black car appeared near Mina's house. It stayed parked for hours, but no one got out. When Armin finally walked over to check, the car drove away silently. Leaving behind a small envelope. Inside was a card, plain white. Only one word written in clean, bold letters, "Selected." Armin stared at it. Armin held the white card in his hand for a long time. Just one word was written on it: "Selected." There was no name, no phone number, no symbol. But somehow the meaning felt clear. He had been watched. Some unknown force, maybe not from this. Earth had seen his journey into the Echo Realm. It had seen him help Haroon and return safely. And now it had marked him. For what purpose? That question stayed in Armin's mind all night. The next morning, he returned to Mina and Haroon's house. The basement lights were off, but the Heartline machine still sat quietly, like a sleeping animal. Haroon was waiting for him with a new notebook in his hand. "They left something for you," Haroon said, passing the notebook over. Armin opened it. Inside were pages he had never seen before. Each one was filled with diagrams, strange shapes, and short sentences in different languages. Some he recognized, others he didn't. "Where did this come from?" Armin asked. "It was on my work table this morning," Haroon said. "The book wasn't there last night. You think the Watchers left it?" Haroon nodded. "Maybe they're not enemies. Maybe they're curious, or maybe they want us to understand something." Armin looked at the pages again. One sentence on. The final page was written in perfect Urdu. "Human feeling is the strongest force we've ever found." Armin read the line twice. "Do you think they tested us?" Haroon replied, "Yes, the Echo Realm wasn't just an experiment. It was a test to see how a human would act inside something built on pure emotion, and you passed." Mina entered with tea and sat quietly listening. "But why test emotions? Why not strength or knowledge?" Haroon looked thoughtful. "Because maybe we're not the first species they've studied. Maybe other species had knowledge, but not empathy. Maybe we're special, not because of our minds, but because of our hearts." That idea stayed with Armin the whole week. He returned to his taxi, driving his usual routes. The city felt different. Now, every person he picked up, an old man, a tired mother, a student, looked like part of something bigger. He wondered, if these people entered the Echo Realm, what would their emotions build? What memories would shape that world? Late one night, Armin drove past the edge of Norport. A strange blue light flickered in the sky above a nearby hill. It vanished in seconds. He stopped the car and stepped out, heart beating faster. There, standing under the streetlight, was a tall figure in a long gray coat. Its face was hidden, but it held something in its hand, a small crystal, glowing with the same color as the Heartline machine. The figure didn't speak. It simply held out the crystal, then placed it gently on the ground and stepped back into the shadows. The light faded and the figure disappeared. Armin picked up the crystal. It was warm, familiar. It pulsed softly in his palm, like it was alive. The next day, he brought it to Haroon. "This is not from Earth," Haroon said immediately. "Look at the structure. It matches the crystal in Heartline, but it's more advanced," Armin agreed. The moment he touched it, he felt something like a voice in his thoughts. Not words, but feelings. Calm, curiosity, respect. "It's a message," Armin whispered. "They're not warning us. They're inviting." "US," Haroon nodded. "They're opening a door, but only for you." Mina, standing nearby, looked at them both. "You think they want our man to do more?" "Yes," Haroon said. "They want to see what else he can do with empathy, maybe even lead something new." A few days later, a group of men in dark suits arrived at Mina's home. They were polite, said very little, and gave Haroon a sealed envelope. Inside was an invitation. A global research group called the Horizon Initiative was forming. It would include scientists, thinkers, and a few rare individuals like Armin, people who had passed emotional response tests around the world. Armin had never heard of such a group, but Haroon had. "They've existed quietly for years," Haroon explained. "They search for signs of advanced tech hidden on Earth, devices we didn't build." "This invitation, it means they know what you did." Armin looked at the invitation. His name was written clearly, along with a phrase, "You opened a door no one else could. The world needs you now." Later that evening, Armin sat alone with the crystal in his hand. He thought about everything: his simple life, his late parents, his younger brother studying far away, and the strange journey that had started with a midnight ride. He had never wanted fame. He never dreamed of science or saving the world. He just wanted to help a woman who had whispered, "Stay with me tonight." And now, because of that one act of kindness, something greater had begun. He closed his eyes and focused on the crystal. This time, he didn't see the echo realm. He saw stars, hundreds of them. A path was opening, but it didn't lead to danger. It led to purpose. In another place far beyond human reach, something ancient and vast observed Armin from a distance. Being had no form like humans, no need for names or sounds. It was made of light and thought. One of its kind turned and said, "They are ready." The other replied, "No, but one of them is." And for the first time in 1,000 years, the Watchers changed their plan. They would no longer hide. A quiet wind blew across the Nurport streets as Armin stood on his rooftop, staring up at the night sky. Stars blinked like small eyes in the distance. His hands were in his pockets, and in one of them, he held the small crystal the Watcher had left him. Since the night of the visit, Armin had felt different. Not just inside, but around him, like the world had changed its shape slightly. He noticed things more clearly. The sadness in someone's smile, the strength behind kind words, the silence in people's pain. He had always been a thoughtful person, but now it felt like his emotions were stronger. He didn't just understand people, he felt them. And now, the world was watching him. The next morning, Armin received a phone call from an unknown number. The voice was soft, professional. "This is the Horizon Initiative. Your presence is requested." The call ended before he could ask anything. An hour later, a black car waited outside. The driver said nothing. Armin gave a last glance at his home, then stepped in. They drove far beyond Nurport's edge, into the hills where radio towers and forests stood side by side. Finally, they stopped near an old stone building that looked like a research center. Inside, everything was modern screens, labs, maps, and people who walked with quiet purpose. A man in a gray suit greeted him. "Welcome, Armin. We've been waiting." Armin followed him through long corridors. On the walls were photos not of people, but of machines, strange crystals, and star charts. In one room, a woman in a white coat pointed at a screen showing the same kind of crystal Armin had received. "We found several across the world," she said. "Most of them remain cold. But yours responds. You activated something." Armin looked at the screen. "What do you mean?" The woman nodded. "We think the beings these watchers are not just observing. They're choosing." In a private room, Armin met others like him, people from different countries and backgrounds. Some were scientists, others were artists, one was a teacher. All had experienced something strange. All had touched emotions deep enough to connect with alien devices. A young man named Navid from South Asia told his story. He had saved an entire village during a flood, guiding people through darkness without thinking of himself. After that, he heard voices in his dreams and found a strange metal ring in the soil. An old woman named Elora had survived a war and spent her life helping children. One day, she touched a stone in her garden, and suddenly, her thoughts lit up like stars. They were all connected by one thing: selfless action. Armin listened quietly. He didn't feel special, just lucky to help Mina and Haroon. But now, he saw a bigger picture forming. That evening, the Horizon leaders explained their findings. "There are at least 7 known devices on Earth," one man said. "We call them anchors. They are not from Earth. They are tests, trials." Another added, "Most people can't activate them. Those who do, like you, show something unique, something the watchers seem to value." "Empathy," said Armin softly. The woman nodded. "Exactly, not strength, not speed, but the ability to feel for others, to care." Another screen lit up. It showed a galaxy map. "We believe these watchers have visited thousands of worlds. Many had advanced life, but only a few passed their tests." "And Earth?" Armin asked. The man gave a small smile. "You might be the first one to pass in a long time." Back in Nurport, Haroon was recovering quickly. He now wore a small bracelet given to him by the Horizon Group. It measured energy levels and brain patterns. He had once been a lost soul in the Echo realm. Now he was helping lead the research. Mina took care of him daily. The house was quieter now, more peaceful. The strange noises had stopped. The basement machine still rested where it was, but its glow had faded. One evening, Armin returned to visit. Mina served tea, and Haroon showed him a journal filled with new thoughts. "I think the Heartline machine is just the beginning," Haroon said. "There are more layers, maybe even higher levels of contact." Armin looked thoughtful. "Do you still feel them, the watchers?" Haroon nodded. "Yes, sometimes at night. In dreams, they don't speak, but they listen." Mina added softly, "You changed something, Armin, not just with the machine, with the world. People like you, people who feel deeply, you're rare." Maybe that's what they were looking for. A few days later, Armin received a small package at his door. It had no sender. Inside was a clear glass cube. Floating inside was a soft blue light, the same shade as the crystal. When he touched the cube, a voice echoed, not out loud, but in his mind. "You crossed the bridge. You helped without asking for reward. You are not like the others." The voice was calm and deep. It continued, "We did not expect your kind to pass, but now we see, you feel, and feeling is power." Armin blinked. He looked around, but no one was there. The light inside the cube faded. On the table beside it, a paper note had appeared. Only 3 words were written: "This is yours." That night, Armin placed the cube beside his bed and lay down. He didn't know what came next. He wasn't sure if the watchers would return, or if more people would awaken machines of their own. But he knew one thing for certain: something had begun. And it had started, not with science, not with war, not with power, but with a simple act of kindness on a cold night when a taxi driver stayed. The sun rose slowly over Newport, casting soft golden light on the quiet streets. Armin stood by his taxi, looking toward the horizon. The world felt new, different, but also full of hope. His journey had started with one midnight ride, a simple decision to stay when a widow asked him to. But that night had changed everything. He held the glass cube in his hands, the gift from the Watchers. It pulsed softly, a living symbol of something bigger than himself. Back in Mina's house, Haroon was fully recovered. He and Mina sat together in the living room, often joined by Armin. They talked about the future, the mysteries of the Heartline machine, the Echo Realm, and the Watchers who observed them. "Do you think others like Armin will come?" Mina asked one afternoon. Haroon nodded. "I believe so. The Watchers' tests are happening everywhere. Our world is awakening." Armin smiled. "Maybe the Watchers are searching for a new kind of human, one who values kindness above all." Mina looked at them both and whispered, "A human who can change the universe." The Horizon Initiative had invited Armin to join their council. It was a group of thinkers and leaders united by a common goal: to understand the Watchers, the machines, and the meaning of empathy. Armin never imagined he would stand among scientists and scholars. He was just a taxi driver after all, but now he saw that every person had a part to play. Science and technology were important, but so was heart. One evening, as Armin worked late in the research center, the glass cube glowed brighter than before. He placed his hand on it and suddenly found himself back in the Echo Realm. But this time, it was different. The shadows had disappeared. Instead, colors swirled around him, vibrant and alive. Voices of the Watchers echoed softly. "You have passed the trial of feeling. You understand the strength of kindness. You are the bridge between worlds." Armin felt warmth spread through his body. It was not just power, it was peace. A light opened before him, a door to new possibilities. When Armin returned to the real world, he knew what he had to do. He gathered Mina, Haroon, and the others from Horizon. "We must teach the world," he said. "Teach people that their feelings are not weaknesses. They are the greatest strength." Haroon smiled. "We must protect the machines and guide those who awaken, so no one becomes lost like I was." Mina nodded. "And we must stay together. Empathy grows in community." Armin looked around the room, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also hope. In the following months, the world began to change. More people reported strange experiences. Machines like Heartline were found in remote places. Scientists and everyday people felt a growing connection, like humanity was waking up to a new truth. The Horizon Initiative grew, bringing people from all walks of life. They studied, shared, and protected the mysterious devices. Armin traveled, speaking to crowds, sharing his story. "Kindness is power," he told them. "Empathy is strength. And together, we can build a future where the heart leads." One clear night, Armin stood again beneath the stars. He thought about that cold night when he first took the midnight ride. He thought about Mina's whispered words, "Stay with me tonight." And he knew he had answered a call far greater than any he had imagined. The Watchers, the Echo Realm, the machines, they were not just tests or mysteries. They were a reminder that humanity's greatest gift was its heart, and that sometimes a simple act of kindness can change the universe.